right where you're rising to the rank where you're about to advance to Guildmaster, the old Guildmaster suddenly becomes a traitor, or he suddenly dies, or suddenly retires. Just this strange coincidence where it fits perfectly the exact time you're about to advance. Doesn't really make sense. I liked how in Morrowind, like when you're about to advance, you can get like the houses, you would get permission from the other counselors and have them vote you in, and if they didn't, you'd kill them. Or in the Mages Guild in Morrowind, as an example, once you could do it two ways. After you've done enough quests, you can challenge the Guildmaster and duel him, and if you win, you become the Guildmaster. Or if you do all the quests, then you'll get a letter from Chancellor Akato that promotes you to the Guildmaster. Well, you have to share the position if you do it that way. And yeah, it just made more sense how there'd be a realistic way of advancing, and not a strange coincidence that always happens like that. And here's the thing with quests in Oblivion. They did it pretty smart, but it doesn't work for replay value, because what they do is they make the quests seem really interesting, have this storyline, or as I said before, it always ends up with you becoming a guildmaster or something. And they put on all that effort to the quest, but once you do it again, it has no replay value. It's so repetitive when you think about it. It just it doesn't. And they put in so much effort into these quests, which not always turn out right. Like the first time you play them, they seem really interesting, but second time not so much. They'll put in these quests, and since they put in so much effort into these, trying to make a few good quests, they don't have time for any normal quests. Like in Morrowind, the quests were realistic. Like in a guild, you would when you first starting out, you're gonna go do normal duties like collect dues from another guild member. But in Oblivion, all the things would have, you know, the average storyline. Like, and there's a couple of, like in the Thieves Guild in Oblivion, where you do normal quests for the first few, but after that, it always ends up as this huge storyline, and it doesn't need that. I mean, it's so unrealistic, and it limits the amount of quests that you can have. Really, here's one of the biggest faults of Oblivion: fast travel. I can't rant enough about fast travel. It's just so terrible that it ruins the entire concept of exploring, because most of the quests just end up, you talk to some guy, you run outside of the building, fast travel to a cave, run inside, talk to him, get out of the cave, fast travel back. In Morrowind, you could do one of two things. You could actually travel there yourself, or you can pay for transportation, like the Silt Strider or Mage's Guild travel. Or actually, there's a third way, which is using spells to travel, like Amsavi Intervention or Divine Intervention, Mark and Recall. And those were great. That's what Oblivion was missing, is that there needs to be some logical way of traveling. You can't just imagine, like, take out a map, put your finger on it, and you're there. It makes so little sense that it's just awful. It ruins it, because in Morrowind you could go out and you could be exploring and find all these new things, and yeah, but you couldn't do that in Oblivion because it was just fast travel. And people say, oh, don't use fast travel, but it's still there. It's not like you just can't use it. The whole game is optimized on using it, because there is no other means of travel. Like, they didn't have the spells, with the exception of mods, which are the only reasons I played Oblivion a second time. Yeah. Another awful innovation of Oblivion was the map markers in your and how you could have your magical compass point out that there's a castle in front of you, and you can discover it for fast travel. You could also have this map marker that this guy tells you to go find something in a cave, for example. You'd have a red map marker pointing you to the exact cave. Now, if you've already discovered it, you can fast travel to it, or you can travel to it from another fast travel location. And once you're inside the cave, all you have to do is look at your map, and there's a green pointer right on the exact item that you need in the cave you've never been in your entire life. You have a magical compass to guide your way. It just it makes no sense at all. It just ruins the gameplay value. It ruins exploration. It's just terrible. Now, the cities in Morrowind, they were just great. Like, each city, if it was one of the main cities, it would be based off the three houses, either Telvanni, Hlaalu, or Redoran, with the exception of Vivek, which is a palace to Vivek himself. And yeah, that's what all the main cities were like, besides like the fishing cities and stuff. They all had, each city had its own unique feeling to it. Like, it wasn't like Oblivion where each house, they tried to make them different. Like, oh, that city has wooden houses and that one has brick. Great. All satellite cities have these huge walls, the same Imperial Legion guards. In all the minor cities, like those little towns, those are even more repetitive than the big cities. They're all just these, I don't know, straw shacks, and they're just terrible. They make no sense how that would even work. Now, the spells in Morrowind had a really, really good system where the spells were not only based on combat, they were also based on strategic things. Like, you could use your spell to transport out of a cave where you're in a cave with tougher enemies than you can handle, or you need to, like, you're full of stuff and you have to leave the cave to unload your stuff and come back. You can use a mark spell and then use an intervention spell to get out of there, and then you can come back later. It was more strategic. But in Oblivion, while they did have a good concept where your magicka would regenerate over time instead of only sleeping, that was a good concept. Well, they did make it too fast, but it was a good concept, I'll admit. But their spells, they were almost all of them were based on combat. I mean, yeah, like life detection and Night Eye. They pretty much made mysticism a useless skill because they had the only two spells were life detection and what was it, telekinesis. Those are the only two spells that even use mysticism, with the exception of mods. Now I'm going to talk about another thing about the skills in Oblivion. They went up considerably fast. How, say you start out level 5 alchemy. First of all, your alchemy, of course, it's impossible to make a potion wrong, so every potion is correct, and it never messes up. So, you make one potion, you're level 6. Make another one, you're level 7. Another one, you're level 8. And then 2 more. Oh yeah, that's where it gets tricky. You're level 9. Oh yeah. Now, in Oblivion, you could just... It was all about spamming your spells, so you could get them leveled up, because you knew it wouldn't take that long. Because nothing took long to get your level up. And of course, you'd always get your armor damaged and repair it, so you could get up to level 50, so you could get your enchanted armor thing. It was way too easy to level up your skills. I'm like level 41 in Morrowind, and my armorer is only like level 43. If it was Oblivion, I don't know, I'd have like almost everything at 100. One time I actually got a mod for Oblivion that made your levels go up to 200 instead of 100 because they went up way too fast. It's just terrible how fast they go up, because in Morrowind it takes a lot of time and effort into developing your skills, so you're always like based on like one area. Like you could do sword, like long blade